I'm measure observer now, the last,
Yeah, it was.
since they changed hands, shows the meeting at 6:30. It did last month and it's again this
Oh,
month.
okay.
I wonder if it's because it's still run on the website.
Pardon me?
Go ahead. See, that's where you change.
Were you showing where you said that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, just right here.
Oh, okay. So this is from the last meeting, so I didn't even do that. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. One thing, new commissioners, there's a little spot that says push on your microphone, and that you have to push that in order to speak. So, and then you push it down when you're done talking.
You'll know if you're live, because the light will turn green.
Gotcha.
Okay, and I am ready.
Okay, so I will call to order this meeting of the Historic Preservation Committee on March 18th at 5:31. Karen, can we have a roll call, please?
Rebecca Berry?
Here.
Liz White-Bear?
Here.
Ann Devane?
Here.
Jennifer Flores?
Present.
Miranda Garrison?
Here.
Jeff Myers?
Here.
John Young?
Here.
Okay. Has everyone had a chance to read the minutes from last meeting? Yes. Does anyone have any changes to make? I would like to add that along with Ann's discussion about a table at the Independence Days, I also discussed a social media presence and potential reels as an additional way to get word out there about historic preservation on the city's social media.
Social media and what?
They're called reels, they're little short videos.
Thank you.
Does anyone have any opposition to that addition?
No.
Okay, then at this time, we'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
I'll approve. I make a motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes passed. Okay, so then, because our former chairperson vacated his position, we do need to have an election of a chairperson. I was the co-chair under Curtis Tidmore, and so that's why I'm sitting here today. For the new folks, in your meeting notes, you'll see that there was some discussion between myself and Commissioner Boisvert, and there was a split vote. So, Karen, do we have to make a new, all the whole thing start over?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. So, does anyone have anyone they'd like to nominate for chairperson?
Yes,
Go ahead.
I would like to, you.
Commissioner Berry has nominated Commissioner Flores. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Who was that?
And
Thank
seconded. Would any other commissioner like to nominate someone else? Okay, all those in favor of Jennifer Flores as commissioner, I guess, vote aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I guess I'm in.
I guess you are. Congratulations.
Thank you, I think. Okay, so.
Now, we have to, do we have to vote for someone to take your place?
Oh, it's coach. Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, we need to find a co-chair. Can I nominate people? Karen?
I don't know if the chair can make a motion.
Why
Chairs
not?
make motion.
Yeah, I don't believe the chair can make a motion. but I'm not sure, so I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay, well, I'd like to make a motion for Commissioner Liz.
Guavere.
And don't feel bad, because Jennifer's one of the only people on the planet that knows how to say it properly.
To be second and
Co-chair.
co-chair.
Okay, we have Commissioner Guavere nominated as co-chair. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Commissioner Guavere is co-chair. Okay, so now, regular meeting?
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Long enough to let them know.
I'm not sure either. Okay, so. So now we move on to, do we have any new business?
I did print out a map,
Oh, that's it.
for the historic district, but you know, I'm just sitting here and, I mean, we have 2 new commissioners, and so it might just be a good sort of idea just to sort of talk about what we do here and what this commission is all about.
Agreed.
So I will give you this, and then we can have sort of a, go a little off script and have a discussion about what we do here. So there you go, it's a bigger version just because.
I think I already have it.
It's a quick turnaround.
Well, the changes that we want to make, right?
Right.
With the names and with the different
Directionals of
buildings.
the way that it's written.
So that you have the black lines where things are gone now, or, names on the streets and stuff like that.
Excuse me, is that the same as, is the packet just bigger?
It is, yep, that's correct.
So while we have the map here, while we're delivering the map,
Yeah,
thank you. So when Oregon State University in 1989 did this map there, how did they come about doing just this area and not doing the north part of the town?
I think at that time it was based on historic integrity, and so, even when it re-looked at stuff in 2012, one of the things that they did at that time was they explored, can the district be expanded? And the answer in 2012 was no, not really. You know, it did, like, you'll note that, the pink house is not in the district. It's, drawn around the pink house, partially because the pink house had been moved.
Right.
It talked about potentially expanding the district like a little bit that way, but in terms of a larger expansion outside of it, it did not feel that it had the historic integrity to warrant an expansion. I don't know, but Karen, you got that map up, huh? So, when I look at this map, I mean, there's just, Karen, I can get the pointer. I should just grab it when I, thank you. I should just always have it ready, right? When I look at this map, there's a number of things that jump out to me. One thing that I'll just sort of say that's unique about this historic district is we have residences and we have commercial buildings. And that makes sort of how we look at various properties, it's somewhat challenging, right? Because something on the main street is gonna be a lot different. I'm sorry, I didn't turn it on. Something on the main street through the downtown, which you see here, is uniquely different than what you see sort of south along Main Street where it's residences. Also, it's different than when you get out to this portion of the district, which is a lot of single-family homes out in this general area. Now, what jumps out to me about maps like this is you look at, for this, in 1989, when it was classifying the district, you'll see a whole lot of red and pink in certain areas, right? But then there's stretches that are not as much red and pink, right? And so when we were originally trying to establish a set of regulations, recently, I'll say, how many years ago was that? Maybe 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, we were trying to re-regulate the district. We were trying to establish new rules for the district. And one thing that jumped out to us in looking at it is there's portions of the district that are just very nice. They have a nice sense of character. You can look at a block face and you can see 3 buildings in a row and it's like, wow, that's really nice. That's not true of the whole district. It's a very patchy district, right? And so like this 3 homes right here on this block face right here, they're 3 nice homes right together, right? And so we tried to establish in certain areas standards that would sort of look at neighbors and say, have a similar height, don't dwarf your neighbor, don't use a setback that's way different than your neighbor, and all this sort of stuff. There's a couple of places that really sort of stand out to me. One of them is on 3rd, and I'm having trouble seeing where exactly 3rd is.
Yeah.
Based on this.
This is second.
Well, you see where second is, and just move over a little bit to the left. Second and C Street,
I'm thinking,
where they meet.
oh yeah, so it's the Catholic Church, that's right.
Okay.
So it's this right here. This is just a beautiful stretch of a block too, right? On 3rd and just off of Monmouth, where you got the old Catholic Church to the right, you've got that nice big white house next to that, and then you've got the other one next to that. You know, block faces like that, I think, are what you typically expect in a historic district. We don't have a lot of that. What we end up having is a whole lot of sort of individual resources sort of scattered throughout the district. Another place I'll just call out, just because I think Miranda lives up there, Commissioner Garrison, is this portion of town. Can you scroll up just a little, or scroll down just a little bit? You'll notice just a cluster of red and pink up in this general area too. You know, that's a good group of buildings that contribute to the district. Now, one thing that I'll just note on this map that was different from the previous map that you saw, there's areas that have been demolished and transferred into new things. So from how this map reads is when you look at the 2012 data, the outline around it, if you have a red and it's still eligible, significant, or eligible contributing, that is still a good resource. If it was pink and there's no outline around it, or if it was red and there's no outline around it, that resource has been lost. So going from 1989 to now. And so you'll note that there's a number of places where resources have been lost. I'll just call out a couple of them. This is old Hop Warehouse. This out here is now like some sort of eightplex or something like that. That happened long before I was here. These 2 right here got taken down, and they have matching single-family homes on them with pretty little character. Yeah, so that's what this map is trying to show. It's sort of like a state of the district now.
So the legend should have as of March 2024.
Pretty much.
Right?
Pretty much, yep. And so how this commission then functions is, the main function of this commission is to raise awareness of this district and the history within the district, and then also to ensure that new development as it comes in is consistent with the character of the district. And so we use a couple of tools to do that. So the commission functions in two separate ways, and those two different roles, you function in a different way in each of those different roles. So when you're raising awareness, you're acting in a legislative function, right? It's sort of like you're trying to figure out how to raise awareness, you're trying to figure out how to potentially protect this in a good way. When you act, though, in a review capacity, you're acting as a judge, and it's just a different role. So Karen, can you pull up subchapter 59 of our code, just so you can see it, just so the folks can see it? Now, when we're acting in a legislative way, we can be as creative as we want. How do we raise awareness of this? How do we tell the story of the history of this portion of the community? We can be as creative as we want. So things like reels, like Commissioner Flores was talking about, things like our website, all of that sort of stuff, things like outreach at tables, things like videos, all of those sorts of things can be used to tell the story of this district and to raise awareness of it. And when we're talking about that stuff, you have free rein to talk, like we can talk about all sorts of stuff, right?
And you said you wanted chapter 59?
Yeah. All right. When we get a land use application, though, you folks function as judges. And so essentially, imagine someone's got a case, they're coming before you, this development is consistent with these codes, and the codes that we use are specifically subchapter 59, so go ahead and scroll down just a little bit, Karen. When we look at this, scroll down even further. Go to the point where there's like a picture on the right-hand side. All right, so this is new construction. So when new construction happens, let's say if a new project is proposed on a lot, we pull out these standards and we look in terms of new does it meet some of these standards? And depending on where it's gonna be at, there's different sort of standards that kick in. Some might be commercial, some might be residential. It's kind of confusing, I realize that, but it's partially because of the nature of the district. We have some commercial buildings, we have some residential buildings. We had to create a code in such a way to address both.
I think it's also important to, like, for our new members to note that it only depends if the empty lot where something is going to be built has been included in the historic zone. Like, we've been having this problem. There's a property on the corner of D and Second, where the commission, and I say the commission because I was a nay vote, approved a building to go up next to the Taylor House that will look nothing like it, and I feel is diminishing, but the lot itself is not protected by the historic code. It's not part of the historic district. So the historic codes that we have in this document do not relate to that lot, right? So those are things that I wish had been explained to me when I first started on this commission, and I think are important for you guys to understand.
So that's partially true, but it's not entirely true. So codes do apply to that lot. It's just a different set of codes. So
Historic code.
but the historic code applies. So, can you scroll up just a bit, Karen? So you will note that it says, within residential districts or the historic residential overlay zone, these standards apply, and that's where it's talking about the residential design standards in subchapter 19. It talks about the scale, mass, and proportion standards that are shown then later. What we did was sort of recognizing the two natures of the district, a partial commercial and a partial residential. We tried to identify the places that were important to keep residential in character. Those places are shown on a map that we call the Historic Residential Overlay Zone map. It's on our website. And when the development is proposed in either those residential areas or an area identified to be important for residential character, they have to meet these criteria. Certain lots were not identified in that map at that time. And so they don't apply to the historic residential overlay standards. They apply, the standards that apply to them are further down too. So go to C2, Karen, please. Further down past this, and then C2, right there. Yeah, within the downtown overlay zone and other mixed-use pedestrian-friendly commercial zoning, other than for single-family homes, these standards apply. And so, for the commercial nature of the district, these are the standards that then apply. Those other standards do not apply to that. It doesn't mean that somebody couldn't say, you know what, I want to build a building underneath those standards. We just tried to divide the district in a way that kind of made some sense to us at the time, recognizing the dual nature of the district. Now, that's a new building. You don't only consider new buildings, you also consider modifications to historic structures. And so for that, yeah, scroll down just a little bit. Alterations or additions to historic structures. And we go down through this. You folks review certain alterations. I review certain alterations. If it's modifying a historic feature of a historic building in the historic district, then it's your review. And it will be in a public hearing format. Sometimes we have folks come, sometimes we don't. The new construction is also in a public hearing format. Most of them aren't controversial, but sometimes they are. And that's part of the reason why I'm trying to tell you right up front, like, you might be functioning as a judge sometime, and it's really important to know that we cannot stray from the criteria to evaluate the proposal, or else potentially somebody could appeal the decision, and we could end up either at city council or land use, well, we would definitely end up at city council, potentially would end up at land use board of appeals. So typically we want to avoid that. If we get appealed, that's fine. We don't want to get appealed for something stupid, right? We don't want to get appealed for going outside the criteria or whatever it might be to make a decision. So when we review alteration to a building, so we have criteria to evaluate it. You'll see that those criteria are right there. All of this is in our on our website, in the so you could just Google City of Independence, Oregon Independence Development Code, subchapter 59. And it will take you right to this. You can take a look at it. I'm more than happy to have a little one-on-one discussion with you and sort of explain how this works. I realize that this is kind of a lot right now.
You can also go to our city website directly, so I'm showing them here. I want to find the development code. There it is. And as he said, subchapter 59, here it is right there.
So when we do look at alterations, a lot of times we just are trying to make sure that it's appropriate to the structure. So if somebody's taken out an aluminum window and put in a vinyl window, a lot of times we don't care all that much because the window's already been modified, right? It's a previously modified window. If they're taking out a wooden window, or they're trying to remove a whole bunch of the siding and put up like a different reveal of shiplap or whatever it might be, then we try and say, no, you gotta do it a different way, right? And we really rely on the Secretary of Interior's standards to review that. And I can send you the link to those standards as well. But it's the standards for rehabilitation, and it's really easy. It's just a matrix that says, if you're trying to do this, don't do this, do this, right? And so we can just go through and say, the recommended is to not do that, what you're proposing instead. And I try and get things to a point where it can be approvable before it comes to you. Sometimes that doesn't happen.
We appreciate that too.
It saves a whole lot of heartache trying to address the issue in the meeting. So, in short, that's sort of how the commission works and what it's about. I realize that was super quick. Now, Karen, can you go back to that page that you were on, with the development code and the planning and all that information stuff? Just 2 resources, and I'll send Karen just a whole list of these things so you can go through them at your leisure. But can you go back one more?
To what?
Just hit the back button. Oh, so go to planning department website, city department.
Planning commission.
I would just hit just hit the main page. It's just how
That's why it's hard. This website is really hard to.
So if you go to codes, plans, and maps right there, and then you see those historic preservation documents right there, you'll see that that's where our 2 designation documents are found. And it describes the district. That 1989 one is the more thorough of the 2. And it just really talks about why it got designated, what the significance of the history is, all that sort of stuff. And then it actually has descriptions of each of the buildings within the district. And so when I give you folks a staff report, I will cut and paste that description right there so you can see what exactly it says about the building. A lot of times it will note like key features of construction and all that sort of stuff. And so I try and have that good and visible for you folks as I'm doing that. This document is pretty cool too, because if you scroll way down to the bottom, Karen, it does include some pictures. So, I mean, that's a fair number of pictures in it.
I know that's the right side now.
Oh, you're gonna have to just rotate it.
That one, yeah. Will that rotate it?
Yeah. So,
Oh, you rotated it 1 too many. There you go.
Try with that. Yep.
it's a pretty photo.
Yeah,
Isn't that amazing?
Is there a date on that? No? Do we know?
There might be something before or after about the date.
1915.
1915, circa 1915.
Yeah.
So anyways, that is really,
Yeah.
what we're sort of about here. If there's policy ideas that you folks have too, you can always suggest those and in a meeting just to promote ways to do things better, and we're always happy to talk about those as well.
I move that we even do get some key properties and go see them, you know, get more involved with like actually, or even just on our own time. Because I know, and I don't know if this is the particular document or not that was given to me when I first became commissioner, but it lists the properties that are in the historical district and, you know, descriptions. This is the same document?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so you can actually go to the address and look at the property and just really get an idea of what, you know, we're trying to do here in this historical district.
Right.
That's on my to-do list.
Right, yeah, no, it'd be, I mean, you'll remember last year sometime we looked at like Google Images and compared this document to how some of the buildings look now, and we could see just how certain things, by the nature of little changes that had happened that were seemingly small, completely obliterated the character of the home. So yeah,
Brad, do we have, or do you or somebody in the staff, with the downtown association have any interaction?
yeah, people have interaction with the downtown association, not me,
Not you?
not me.
Okay. I was wondering how, do they get information on, how they can get grants and
Yeah, Sean's always letting folks know about, or trying to pull in money for commercial rehabilitation. And it's an interesting tension, right? A lot of times with commercial downtown buildings, a lot of times they're like, I want it to look historic, right? And especially with as nice as downtown's looking right now, like people are like, I would love my building to look better. I've gotten a couple of calls like that. The tension with that is, well, no, I mean, a lot of people do it. Like Aaron Young did that W building and it turned out very nice. Turned out way nicer than it was. The tension is residents don't have that same mindset. A lot of times people are like, oh, I'd love to like expose my trunks and windows and all this sort of stuff downtown. But in residential areas, the thing is, I need new siding. I need to insulate my building. I need to get I need to put new windows in, right? And so there's almost the assumption on the residential side, I need to do this. It's almost like taught, or it's so common culturally because with all the like home rehab stuff, like I'm putting in new windows and all this sort of stuff, I'm taking it down to studs, all this sort of stuff. And a lot of times that is not the best preservation approach. Actually, I pulled another video. I don't know if we want to talk about this much longer, but I did pull a video that talks about some of that stuff. But I'm more than happy to answer any questions that anybody has. Would you folks like to tell a little about yourselves?
Oh, yeah.
Sure,
Yeah.
everybody looked at me first.
They're just looking at the end of the, they're looking that way.
Sure, let me tell you a tale. I'm Miranda. I own Urbina, so that's a historical business downtown. I only own the business, I don't own the building.
Which building is it?
It's Arena Sportswear,
Oh, okay.
the black and white one, and it's very contributing. And I also own a historic home downtown. I own 92 Log Cabin, and it's a one of my greatest pleasures.
Cool. Anything else that you'd like to, how long have you lived in town?
Oh, I have lived here since '99. I bought the house next door, actually, 70 log cabin in '06. And I lived there and we did updating, but we did keep like all of our old windows, and you can repair them if you take time with it. And then we bought the house next door and moved next door. So
Did you do the restoration yourself, or did
a
you?
lot of it, yes.
A lot of it.
Yep, a lot of it. Took a lot of time.
Yeah, yes.
It's, yeah, I worked on it. I just got it really done right before I moved.
Twice as much time and twice as much money as you think it's gonna be, yeah. We really love.
That's it.
Or-
Oh, they know all about it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but the new guys don't know about you.
Oh, yeah, they did. We talked before.
Well, I'm Jeff Myers. I live on the corner of 3rd and C, and if anybody knew Fran Ingblom, lived in her old house, and that house was owned by Dr. Knott back in the 1920s, all the way up through whatever. And my passion has always been old homes. This is my 6th house to restore, and I've worked with a partner on this house who is just a genius at making new materials match the dimensions and the characteristics of old materials, so it's been kind of fun. That house, as some of you may know, was an absolute disaster until we peeled the rind off, and it's been a lot of fun since then. Prior to that, I actually had a house in Monmouth that was owned by the Butler family. It was built in 1870. It's an old red farmhouse at the end of Main Street, if you ever go down that way. That house is a lot of fun to do.
Jeff, is this your house on the screen?
Oh,
No, that's
That's
Bill Nix's house.
Yes.
No, we're the opposite side.
Opposite side, I'm
Yeah,
trying to find it.
Catty corner.
Northeast.
Yeah,
That's the senator's house, I think, isn't it? The senator's.
there it is. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
And that's the way it used to look, and we peeled off all the junk that had, much of the junk as we could, that had been stuck on there over the years. Fred knows a little bit about that, and just absolutely love that house. And what else can I tell you? I'm a professor of geology at Western Oregon. I've been here since 1999, and moved to Independence in 2011, and absolutely love it.
good.
Cool.
But having, this is the first time in my 8 years that we've had every seat full on this town.
For one
Except
time.
that, yeah, and like the only time except now, this is John's last meeting, so.
So your first thing is recruit more people.
Now we're gonna have to get somebody for your seat.
Did we not have other applications? I thought that we did.
I don't know. I don't see the applications.
No, these were the most recent ones.
Was that,
So,
Yeah, that's me.
yeah,
That's me. Oh, I did want to say that Adler did come and do a design for my, they had it painted because I want to get it painted really bad because the white on the white is a little bit white. And it's a beautiful design. I should have brought it.
so you did have a consultant come in about the paint?
When you guys had that, Adler, she came, took advantage of that and had her come out. And she helped me design my side yard and my paint, so I
That's
plan on
right.
doing that.
And did
And,
they
I
find
mean-
that helpful?
Beautiful rendering.
I found it very helpful, because I didn't know what color to paint. I was like, I don't know what to do with it.
See, Fred,
so,
this is the reason why I suggested that we have somebody, or that we have just a book of recommended swatches.
Hmm.
You know,
Suggestions.
I'm not, suggestions, I'm not saying that you have to do it,
yeah,
but it's helpful.
People don't have, yeah, they don't
And
have.
if she didn't have this other outlet, she could have gone down to City Hall and just even looked at this book, and that could have been helpful.
right, and I mean, I actually think having this contract with Jane is getting funded through, the Certified Local Government Grant. It's something that it's somewhat cheap for us to do, just because Jane doesn't cost a whole ton of money for the service. And I think rather than regulating at the time of an application, it's way better to try and get ahead of a problem before
Which is where
it's all
which
designed.
is where that education piece comes in. That's
Well,
what we're trying to, accomplish, so that we're heading the problems off before they become problems. If the education is out there, then we don't see as many problems here. You don't see as many problems because we've already gotten that information out to people who own historic resources and who want to maintain them or improve them.
I will just point out that Commissioner Myers did receive the Historic Preservation Award the first year that we put it out for his work on that building. So just another, that award was funded through that same Certified Local Government money. That's sort of that's sort of the advocacy legislative role that you folks have to identify how can we raise awareness of this district in whatever way it might be. And so if you have ideas related to that, we're always willing to hear those things.
Do we have plans to have anybody work on the website with the errors that we found last time we were exploring it in the last meeting?
Yeah, we do. I was just kind of waiting to see if anybody had any other thoughts about it.
I would like some more time to digest that and go through it, because
Yeah.
it's helpful, right? So, and I be able to do that for tonight, so.
So what's happening with my question from last time about, the properties that are no longer with us, that on our map?
So I don't remember that question. Were you wanting to put, grab pictures of them just to see what they were like or what?
Basically, how many residential or commercial properties did we lose?
Well, you mark them in the black slash lines on this new map.
The trouble, the thing about the map, for us, it's good, but doing any kind of a handout, I could never explain this map to somebody that walked up to me and said, hey, what does this mean? I just couldn't.
Yeah.
I'll say from a standpoint of a realtor that, from a buyer's perspective, someone looking in our area, this map is better than that. And being able to say, your home is within this box, right? And if there's anything like that we can't explain, we know where to direct them to someone that might, they need to talk to Fred.
Right, and it's very easy to just make a map that's just a historic district boundary and say, we're in the historic district. If you want to do anything to the exterior property other than change your paint colors, you have to talk with the city.
Yep.
And that's easy. That's
That's
easy
what
to
this
do.
map basically is, right? If your home is within this boundary.
Right, and this to me is more,
This isn't the same thing.
so it's very easy to put that dotted line.
Kind of an outline map is what you're trying to get,
Yeah,
right?
that's easy.
Yeah. With maybe the streets in it, but that's it, the street names in it, but.
Yeah, literally this map, but taking off all the colors.
Yeah.
I think the colors,
I think the colors need to stay.
I'm talking about a second map.
Right.
This is for us.
Right.
This is for us to understand what's going on with the
Sure,
district.
and I think that they're helpful. I think that the pieces outside of the district, maybe a little bit is what is bothering Commissioner Devane. It makes it so much more busy to have the other streets and the other buildings that are not part of our district as part of the map, it just adds to what we're trying to determine where we are and where the buildings are. So if it was just the district with, you know, white or black or whatever on the parts that are not covered by the historic district, the colors can stay, the key can stay, the key's fantastic, you did a great job, but all the outlying parts we don't need them. We just need the street
I
names.
was going to suggest having a plain base instead of a aerial photograph. That way you would be able to compare the two, but it would be easier to see where the streets are, et cetera, and then have this colored map.
But then we have this legend down here, and if I'm sitting up at the farmer's market on a table and there's this map there and somebody goes, and what is this little one that has the blue around it, what does that mean? I can't explain exactly what that means to them. You
So,
know, so, I mean, it's like, okay, so here's a map, and if you have any questions, don't ask me.
so
I mean,
that's, we can easily change that.
well, you know,
I'll just say what it means essentially is that when they re-reviewed it in 2012, they said it was still eligible and still significant, it was still eligible contributing to the district.
Maybe because we have some new commissioners here, and just to refresh all of our memory for people that have been here longer, is a simple explanation at one point of what the different things mean, so that
Yeah,
if we have a basic question come in to a commissioner, we can give you like the general idea of what the different things mean.
right, so I mean, essentially the idea is this, that boundary was established, and when the boundary was established, it said there was a certain number of contributing properties to the district. And so the resources together make the individual houses and the individual buildings, they contributed to a larger district, right? And so we're interested in we're interested in the character of the district as a whole. We're also very interested in maintaining the contributing buildings, because if we lose the contributing buildings, if they are changed because of changes to siding, changes to windows, if the historic look and feel of those buildings is lost, then the whole district suffers, because, I mean, imagine, I can't think of, I can't think of a good example, but essentially we're diluting the essence of the district, if that makes sense. The more and more non-contributing properties are in it. And so what we're trying to do here is maintain as much as possible the number of contributing properties that are within the district.
So Brett, I have a question of Monmouth Street towards the very west end of, the northwest end of the district. We have a property that is secondary eligible contributing, according to the key, which is cut in half. How's that?
Right.
Yeah, so the house is on the east side, that's Catherine Bush's house out there, right across from Pioneer Park.
Oh, I remember that issue, never.
Yeah, the house,
oh,
the
right.
property is rectangular, the house is on the east side. So it's reflecting a property boundary, not the location of the building.
Okay.
Okay, are you guys sufficiently fried and now you wanna quit?
No, I mean, it makes sense, I get it.
Dates, just good for point of reference of when the last time it was.
Well, they're on there, on the key.
On where?
It says building classification from 1989 at the top.
No.
Yeah, I think just a date
I'm
on
talking
the
about
side
the
for
date
that.
that he revised the map so that we know it was redone in
Yeah.
2020.
And there was some demolitions later on, or whatever.
Right.
Anything else? We can think of tonight?
I couldn't find anything about the awards
On the website?
on the website.
Okay.
Is there something somewhere that I missed?
I don't think that we compiled them, no.
Okay.
And did anybody else have a chance to look through the website, and just see if there's any changes? I forgot that we were supposed to do that. Did anybody else have a chance to do it? Sounds like you did, since you couldn't find it.
Well, you're right, I did, but I couldn't find it.
Mistakes now, I just thought, as I looked through it, it's just so spread out, all the historic aspects of the website, or just, like, you can click under city departments, or you can click under I want to, or you can click, there's so many ways to get to one place, rather than like a singular button on the home screen that says, do you own a historic property? Here's all the things you need to know. Like, go here, and then all the historic things are in one place. I don't know, it's just, there's so many things for people who own historic properties to know, to need to know, if you really,
And it's not one click away
no.
by any manner of means.
So that was what I noted.
That slider is so cool.
Oh, yeah, the information is really great, but
Yeah.
like you said,
It's spread out.
like, you want to spend 3 days looking for something? Not exactly, but I mean, you have to spend some time trying to figure out if you're looking for something. Or I think.
Just a little tweaking. It's a great, I think it's a nice website. I've seen much worse.
Oh, yeah.
But we're here to make things as great as possible in Independence, right?
That's true, yep.
Okay. Nobody else has anything?
No,
So then I think at this time, I'd like to say thank you to Mr. Young for his years and years of service. Years and years of service. And we can officially close the meeting for the evening.
Oh, were there any other applicants?
No, they said no.
So we'll do lunchtime and.
They're ready to work, fill out chair. Yeah, maybe you can just help fill that chair. No.
Honestly, John told us last January, I wanna be done, and we're like, just
One more month.
just one more month, we'll be looking for
I
something.
noticed the notice from the state about that filing, was like, I'm just not gonna do it, and then what happens, right? It's important.
That's funny. Get myself kicked off.
Oh, yeah, a reminder that we have to do our filings right now, I think by April 15th.
Right.
Okay.
it's already done.
Yeah.
Yeah, for some.